I'm Stephanie Carson. I'm 32, and I've secretly paid my parents' mortgage for the last 5 years, over $110,000, without a single thank you. But that Sunday, as we sat at the dinner table, my mother's voice cut like a blade. "You're ungrateful. Get out and never come back." So I did exactly what she said. She had no idea the house she was throwing me out of was standing because of me. That night, I clicked one button, cancel recurring payment, and watched everything unravel. Have you ever been cast out by the very family you sacrificed everything for? Let me know in the comments, because it's time people hear what really happened. I grew up in a modest 3-bedroom house in Riverside, just outside Boston. My parents, Carol and Michael, did their best, but money was always tight. Mom worked as a receptionist. Dad bounced between sales jobs that never stuck. There were arguments, silent dinners, overdue bills stacked on the kitchen counter. From a young age, I understood one thing. If I wanted stability, I had to earn it myself. While other kids were at the mall or texting their crushes, I was working part-time, tutoring younger students, and handing over most of what I made to help cover groceries or utility bills. When I got a full scholarship to Boston University, I thought, finally, this is my way out. College was everything I'd dreamed. I graduated top of my class with a finance degree, landed a job at Blackwood Consulting, and started building the life I'd always wanted. A 1-bedroom in Back Bay. A career I loved. Friends who respected me. But back home, things were falling apart. Dad lost another job. Mom's paycheck couldn't stretch. Then came the call. Mom crying, telling me the bank was days from foreclosing on their home. Without a second thought, I drained my savings and brought the mortgage current. But I didn't stop there. I took over the payments in secret, quietly wiring $1,875 every month, while letting them believe the bank had worked out some special program. No one asked me to. No one thanked me either. Instead, Mom kept mocking my fancy downtown life. Dad stayed silent. And every Sunday, I brought groceries, cooked dinner, and endured backhanded comments like I owed them something, when in truth, I'd already given more than they could ever know. For 5 years, I lived a double life. By day, I was Stephanie Carson, senior financial consultant, respected at work, steadily climbing the ladder. By night, I was the invisible safety net holding my parents' lives together. The $1,875 I sent each month, quietly deducted before I even paid my own rent. I told myself it was worth it, that giving them security was my way of giving back. But the more I gave, the more invisible I became. Every Sunday, like clockwork, I drove to their house, groceries in hand, solutions ready for their problems. And every Sunday, Mom met me with the same cold commentary. "Must be nice," she'd sneer, "sleeping in while the rest of us work for a living." Never mind that I'd been up until midnight preparing a client presentation, or that I'd just footed the grocery bill she didn't acknowledge. In her eyes, I was the pampered city daughter who'd forgotten her roots. And Dad? He just watched, silent, detached. Always in that recliner, always with a game on, always letting her words hang. My brother Ryan had long since distanced himself, moved to Seattle, rarely visited. He said I was crazy for staying connected, for still playing the good daughter. But I couldn't walk away. I told myself I was stronger. That family meant showing up, even when it hurt. What they didn't know was how much I was sacrificing. I put off buying my own home, skipped vacations, ended relationships because I didn't have the emotional bandwidth to invest in anyone else. I told myself I was doing the right thing, that if I just held on a little longer, they'd finally see what I'd done for them. But they didn't. Instead, I became the emotional punching bag, the one who never did enough, despite doing everything. Still, I stayed, hoping, waiting, telling myself that love meant giving without needing anything in return. Until one Sunday, everything cracked open. It was a Sunday like any other, at least at first. I showed up at 4 p.m. sharp, groceries in hand, just like always. Mom greeted me with her usual snark. There she is, our big city girl. Must be nice to sleep in while the rest of us work. I bit my tongue, set the bags down, and got to cooking. Same script, different week. But this Sunday there was a twist. Aunt Patricia was visiting. Unlike Mom, Aunt Patricia had built a successful real estate career. She traveled, she laughed, she lived. Naturally, Mom resented her, just like she resented me. Dinner was tense. Aunt Patricia chatted about Spain and her daughter's graduation. Mom's mood darkened with every story. Then it happened. "Carol," Aunt Patricia asked innocently, "did you ever figure things out with the mortgage?" Stephanie mentioned helping out a while back. Silence. Mom's fork clinked against her plate. Her eyes locked on mine like lasers. "You did what?" she asked, her voice low and tight. I froze. "I wasn't trying to," I stammered. "You went behind our backs, told people we're charity cases?" I swallowed hard. "I've been paying the mortgage for 5 years. Mom turned purple. "So that's why you're always suggesting renovations? You think this is your house?" "No. This wasn't help," she spat. "This was control. You think you're better than us." I looked at Dad, begging for support. He just stared at his plate. "You're ungrateful," Mom hissed, voice rising. "Get out, and never come back." The room went still. Even the TV went quiet. My heart cracked open. After everything I'd done, everything I'd sacrificed, this was how it ended? Not with a thank you. With exile. I stood there, frozen. Her words rang in my ears like gunfire. "Get out, and never come back." I waited for Dad to say something. Anything. But he just stared at his plate, like he wasn't watching his daughter be cast out of the house she paid for. Fine. I walked up the stairs to my childhood bedroom, hands shaking, vision blurry. Debate trophies, honor roll plaques, my framed degree on the wall. All useless now. I shoved what I needed into an overnight bag. Toothbrush, books, spare clothes. I paused just once, to look at the room where I used to dream of a better life for all of us. How naive. When I came back downstairs, the room fell quiet. Aunt Patricia looked heartbroken. Mom just folded her arms like she was waiting for a show to end. "If you walk out that door," she said coldly, "don't expect things to ever go back to normal." I looked at her. Really looked. For the first time, I saw her not as my mother, but as someone incapable of accepting help without turning it into a weapon. "You don't have to worry," I said. "I'm done trying." And I left. When I got home, I sat at my desk, opened my laptop, and found the automatic transfer I'd set up 5 years ago. $1,875 on the first of every month. My finger hovered over cancel. Was I really going to do it? Mom's voice echoed again. "You're ungrateful. Get out. Never come back." I clicked. Yes. Confirm. Just like that. It was over. $112,500. Gone. Years of sacrifice, severed with a click. That night, I unfriended both parents, left the family group chat, and turned off my phone. I didn't cry. I didn't rage. I just let go. And for the first time in my adult life, I wasn't carrying my parents anymore. In the weeks that followed, I expected regret, guilt, maybe even second-guessing. But what I felt was peace. I threw myself into work, started therapy, called Ryan, who told me flat out, "She didn't throw you out because you failed her, Steph. She threw you out because you stopped enabling her." And he was right. 25 days after that Sunday dinner, the text came from Dad. "Bank started foreclosure. We need to talk." I met him in my building's lobby. He looked smaller somehow. Older. Tired. "Why'd you stop?" he asked. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I told him the truth. Because she told me to leave, and because not once did either of you say thank you. And then something I never expected. He apologized. Not half-hearted. Not performative. He admitted it all. The silence, the enabling, The years of passive complicity. It cracked something open. A week later, I went back, not to resume the payments, but to draw boundaries. Real ones. And shockingly, they listened. They sold the house, bought a condo they could afford. We started over, carefully. Now, Sunday dinners are once a month. Phone calls happen when I have the space. Our relationship isn't built on guilt or obligation anymore. It's built on respect. Cautious, but real. The most powerful thing I ever did wasn't giving them money. It was saying enough. If you're watching this wondering when it's your turn to stop carrying everyone else, this is your sign. Love without boundaries is self-destruction. You don't owe anyone your peace, not even the people who raised you. Have you ever had to set hard boundaries with family? Share in the comments. I promise, someone needs to hear your story.